Hi, I'm Ben Heslop. I am Director of Resource and Data at ResQ. I've worked at ResQ now for just over 3 years, and my role entails looking after the data dialer team, which manages the strategy of our outbound campaigns dialing. I head up the resource planning functions, and the day-to-day role of the planning function within ResQ is to deliver the client's headcount requirements, utilising Peopleware heavily to support that.
I'm Tom DeLuca, Customer Success Manager at Peopleware. I work with clients to deliver workforce management solutions that truly fit their needs. I've been with Peopleware just over 5.5 years and in WFM just over 15. As part of our ongoing relationship with Ben and the team, we were in continuous discussions regarding their challenges and scheduling and getting the most out of their system.
My name's Hayden. I'm the Resource Planning Manager for ResQ. I've been working for ResQ for about 5 years. My responsibility is to manage and lead the resource planning team into best delivering the resource requirements for our clients.
We are always in communication with Peopleware as a business. It sounds a strange one, but it almost feels like a team within ResQ because of how close the relationship is, how closely we work together. We have very open conversations, always talking collaboratively, and it's through these discussions that this solution came about.
What struck me straight away was their openness and genuine drive for improvement. Instead of just looking for a standard fix, Ben invited me to co-create something transformative. They were actually looking for a solution that catered to their needs and not the other way around. And that's what got me really excited to work with Ben and the team.
We're not a conventional resource planning function, being an outsourcer. So where normally you'd use a WFM platform to put your demand in, your handle times, your shrinkages, creating a requirement of a headcount within the system then can do all its great work and schedule for you, optimize breaks and lunches, etc. But as an outsourcer, we just receive headcount requirements by interval level from our client that is not within the system. That means that all of our scheduling, optimization, etc. was all done manually and then analysed outside of Peopleware.
They faced a unique challenge. Their headcount-driven scheduling requirements didn't quite fit the standard WFM model, which left much of Peopleware's automation out of their reach. And as a result, the planners were overwhelmed and the process was putting real pressure on both management and frontline teams.
Also being an outsourcer, we have a lot of mandatory training that has to happen due to regulation. That led to over 900 people needing this planned in.
Previously to this tool being introduced, we had a lot of time spent doing manual things. So this would be scheduling and training for our advisors, doing mop-up sessions for those training, because inevitably you'd have people that are absent, adjusting rotations, optimizing breaks. And this would be for both our planning team as well as our real-time team. And that would create a lot of tedium in the workload, and it would take time away from things that we can do to really drive positive change for the business.
The problem with the team is they're so driven to do the best for ResQ. Even with days of work scheduling, they still knew that they hadn't got probably the most effective shift in there. This led to some dissatisfaction at times within the function, probably some frustration as well, particularly as the team matured as a group in terms of planning experience and they start to understand what the system could do in terms of a real-time solution. Was missing a lot of that because of how long it took us to react. So that was a major impact to the team.
When we assessed ResQ's environment, the biggest pain points jumped out. Due to their headcount process, there was no way for them to upload demands profile during the short intervals. And the challenge for us was to find a way to help them upload these demand profiles in a way that could deliver automation, but without losing the hands-on control that the planners were used to.
The fact that we don't get call volumes, we don't get handle times, that limited what we could do within Peopleware and what we could do within any WFM platform. So we've gone through a number of RFP processes to try and find a solution that would handle our way of working, that it's not out there for an outsourcer. So when dealing with Peopleware, they regularly talked about what challenges we saw, and as part of their back and forth with us in terms of we could do it this way, we could do it that, and they went away, and Tom came back to us with the solution of being able to circumnavigate the handle time, etc., just to load in our own headcount requirement by either 15 minutes or 30 minutes, depending on which client we're using. So it wasn't just a tool that worked for one, they adapted it so it would work for multiple.
On Peopleware's end, this was not too technically challenging at all. The development of the importer tool went smoothly, and we have some really clever folks here at Peopleware. And when conversing with the team, they were able to come up with a prototype customized for ResQ pretty quickly. And what also made it fluid was the way that ResQ received their headcount requirements in a format that was perfect for the uploader. And this really sped up the process.
My role during the partnership was primarily in the testing phase. So I would have multiple conversations with Tom where we'd just be testing, how does it work, and what we can use off the back of that as part of the Peopleware functionality.
Anything that comes up in these conversations we have are never they're not really a challenge. It's more an opportunity for us as a team to come together, ourselves at ResQ and Peopleware, to come up with things that are probably sometimes outside the box, but help us to deliver more and deliver this in a best-in-class service. So I think coming up with the custom solution is just part of the constant collaborative relationship we have. It's things such as what we've come here, where we can circumnavigate the system with this bespoke tool to load headcounts directly into Peopleware, and then allow Peopleware to do what it can do.
Working towards a goal, feedback is most welcome. However, with most tools, the tool itself is not enough. We understood early on that the implementation training would need to take place to ensure that the usage was correct, as not everyone is au fait with API, for example. When I asked Ben what it would take for him to be successful, he was very honest with me, and he said they liked the system, but they were very aware that they weren't using it anywhere near to its full potential. Part of the ongoing post-implementation was the need to evaluate ResQ's approach to planning and unlock more functionality that they had been missing.
We saw challenges in terms of educational piece because we'd never used the system to its full potential. Peopleware was there to help us build the system in a manner that would utilise this new tool as effective as possible, creating the best schedules as possible, alongside training of the planning function to make sure that all of the things we could now do weren't daunting, there weren't an issue, there weren't challenges, there were just massive opportunities for us as a planning function.
The requirement importer is clearly a game changer for ResQ. It not only allows them to unlock more optimization from the system, but it also allows them to speed up their processes.
As part of the implementation of this new tool and new way of working, I can only describe it as significantly faster. I was expecting this to be probably a 3-4 month technology change. It probably took from start to finish around 2 weeks. Straight away we got regulatory training that came in for all advisors. This was FCR training. Normally this would take around 3 to 4 days to really effectively schedule it whilst not impacting our service delivery against client headcount. These 3 to 4 days of scheduling time for this piece of work actually took the system an hour and a half to run. That was phenomenal. I can tell you there was some celebratory cheers from the team as they saw this part of the system working and really achieving real success and delivering probably better than they could do in significantly less time. In terms of changing processes going forward, looking at other ways of working and not just within Peopleware. So how can we look at work-life balance? When we was under the strain of days and days and days of scheduling, we didn't have the resource to do this regular. It was done when we saw clear drops in headcount delivery where we'd need the heads to be. We can now not only do it when we see issues with client requirements not being delivered, but we can do it more regular to see if there's further opportunities to offer flexibility to our advisors. The fact that we can do this within the system to run the shifts instead of manual work within Excel has been absolutely phenomenal it's raised morale within the resource planning as a function, and it will raise colleague engagement with our advisors on the front line, where we can offer schedules that suit their home life more than we're currently able to. So a massive improvement there. Scheduling time, that's gone from probably 3 days just to run your basic schedules across all the departments to the system taking around an hour and a half to run these now. So again, just more flexibility within the team.
We're now looking at improving our processes, whether that can be like providing insight on how we actually delivered versus our forecast, or reviewing our assumptions, and just generally driving positive change for stakeholders. What we've found is that agent feedback has been brilliant. They are now in a position where, you know, they're hearing about any rotation changes 4 or 5 weeks out, and they can just load up their Peopleware. They can see it immediately, can see exactly what's changed. They know even if there is going to be a change, what, you know, that adjustment might look like. In terms of team leaders, it's been really good because they've been able to see positive change in terms of scheduling in training and lunches and stuff like that. So they know exactly what their team's going to be doing, when they can take people off further in advance rather than kind of have to rely on that in day. And then our client has been really happy with things. So thanks to this change, we're now delivering our hours significantly better than previously. And it's all really due to like the automatic process that Peopleware has been able to do for us.
Not all new feature requests are feasible, but this one made sense for both parties, as Peopleware can help others with similar needs. And for ResQ, it transformed the way they use the system and is truly a win-win for both parties. This has fast become a new opportunity for ResQ. I'm sure they can share the new format with their prospective clients off the back of this, and probably spin up proof of concepts a lot faster and potentially win more clients.
The overall outcome has been, we've just won a recent client that has very, very tight commercials around 15-minute period delivery. What we've done within Peopleware and working with Peopleware has freed up the resource to take this client on without impacting the size of the team. So we're doing more with the same amount of planning. So it's a massive win from the team morale perspective. We can deliver the same headcount requirement without going over our max billable hours. So we're not having to spend more money than we can charge back to the client to deliver our targets, so we don't hit commercial penalties. And again, being able to do all of this, absorb a new client, deliver better results, and keep the same headcount within the function has been a massive success. Working within resource planning for 19 odd years, multiple vendors over them years, it's refreshing and quite surprising to work with a vendor that just feels like you're working with someone within your business. Like, ResQ has a very unique culture, and you can't tell where the line is between us and Peopleware. It is one team. There's no leading us down a certain path ever. The only thing that Peopleware have ever done and have had to do, and understandably, is the technical build of the solution. Everything else is just a seamless one team working through this project together. All for the planning team within ResQ plus Peopleware, because it's an exciting time for us. We're already well on with what next. The future is keeping the collaborative communication up, looking at ways of how can myself as a customer of Peopleware help spread probably a bit of what makes Peopleware special, so that more people can kind of be involved in these sort of relationships.
This partnership is a template for what's possible. Two teams solving real problems together for lasting impact. What we've built together is proof that when collaboration is driven by trust and purpose, it can transform how teams work together and what they achieve. And for the future, our focus is to keep listening, keep innovating, and keep growing with ResQ as their future unfolds.
Very excited for what people can offer to the future of ResQ, and submitting this award is a real testament to this partnership being a success. Just to finish, I think if you can build a partnership with an outside vendor that feels like it's an internal function, that's special, and that's a reason that this award submission is going in.